Oh yeah. What they call him?
They called him, come on, Tia. What they call him? Oh my goodness. They had a nickname. Yes,
Yeah,
they did.
he looked like Uncle Babe.
Mm-hmm.
What we call Uncle
What did they
Babe.
call him? Because my aunt told me his nickname that everybody called him. What was his nickname?
Did you post it?
No, I did not. And I should have because,
Uncle Babe.
oh my goodness.
Remember Uncle Babe and Uncle Coon.
That's it.
Was it?
Coon. That's
Coon,
it. I'm going to
yeah.
call my aunt. Yes, that's
Coon.
it.
Yeah.
They called him Coon, yes.
Yeah, he's quite a guy.
Yes.
That I remember.
You have a good memory. That's a long time ago.
Yeah, man.
That's what they called him.
We used to have a dog we called Coon. He's the best coon hunting dog there was
Mm-hmm.
down eastern Accomack County.
Yes.
You ever see any people down
Yes.
there? Yeah. How about the ones that was in high school? I mean, not high school, school. Let's see. I shouldn't even brought that up because I can't even remember real good.
I go there a couple of times a year.
Did you?
Mhm. And you know who I've talked to recently?
Who?
Helen Savage, Sook.
So,
You remember Sook?
oh yeah.
She's still down there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sook.
She's still down there.
Is she?
Yes, she
What
is.
does she do?
She's doing well. She's of course retired,
Oh, she.
but she's involved in her church,
Oh,
and
really?
she's there a lot. Yes.
Praise the Lord.
She's doing well.
Oh, that's great.
Yes, she is.
I-
You remember her, don't you?
Yes, I do. She's a wonderful person.
Yes, yes, she is. And now, your father was Walter Nock,
John.
correct?
Say it again.
Your father?
Yeah.
Walter Nock was his father.
Walter.
Walter Nock.
Yeah.
Okay, do
They
you
used to call him Nut now.
They called him Nut.
Yeah.
Yes, they did.
uh,
Do you remember, Sook was your half-sister.
Huh?
Sook was your half-sister. Because Walter Nock was her father also.
Is she?
Hmm.
What's her? What was his name?
Your father was her father.
Yeah, right,
Yes.
right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Is that right?
Yes, he was.
I'm in there.
Now, do we want to
You could just.
start?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I have a few questions for you.
Okay.
And the first question is, your father, Walter Nock,
Uh-huh.
do you remember him?
Vaguely.
Mhm.
Yeah. He and my brother Melvin, Pete, we call him. He taught us how to make barrels,
Mhm.
potato barrels.
Mhm.
And we used to, I still remember some of the rudiments in construction, barrel construction.
Mhm.
They were always shipped to the barrel house in Melfa.
Mhm.
And they were divided among the coopers. The barrel coopers
The
had the name
coopers.
barrel cooper. Yeah. And we always get together and be jovial sessions. Some laughing and making jokes of things and funny things.
Mhm.
And I'm trying to think of another one. Babe, you remember Babe?
Mhm.
All of them together.
You knew Frank Nock?
Frank Nock, yeah, he's my buddy. Frank Nock.
Oh, Papa, let me show you something about Frank Nock. I
Yeah.
have.
He and I used to race making barrels. That's quite a procedure.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Why were barrels so important back then?
Huh?
Why were barrels so important back then? Do you remember him? That's Frank Knott.
Yeah, this is Frank. Yeah, my boy. Yeah, they used to wait for us to come in because I'd be cracking jokes out of putting these barrels in. These are white potatoes barrels we're making. These are barrel staves. And you set them by your knee or between your legs, like, and set them up around in a half circle, like. And these are staves. The staves are short, were concave, like curl a little bit. And on that curl, you try to form them into the frame that we had called Weldon. What is it called? A setup hook, more like to set the barrel up. That was the first procedure. And Pete and I, we went through that. You work your knee, your finger, and your hand, the coordination of that to form the barrel. Then you took a wooden hook after you form it between your thighs, They have a wooden hook. It's a thin sort of hook to form an O-line. And you hold that between your knee line in a circle, a half circle, and form the staves. Each stave is a section of the barrel. And once you form that in your leg, you just hold your leg together until it forms. Then you take the wooden hook and put two clamps on it till it's formed, that part. And the tricky thing is turning upside down while it's setting before the barrel will crash together. So the trick is to feel that between the leg, how it should feel, and you form the barrel. And as soon as you get that much fixed, you hook it off. About 4 tacks to hold it together enough till you set it upside down. The barrel is very, people think it's made straight up, but it's upside down. You set it on a stand, what you call setup stand, and we call it a setup stand. And we put it on where they have a cable that you wrap around that stand and form the barrel. Draw that together, and it sort of brings these staves together like this, and the roundness of it, and by the art, way they made art style, formed the barrel, body of the barrel. So we did all that, and we call what we call hook off. After you set it up like that, you then to turn the barrel backward, where the barrel should stand. And trouble, you have to have the unique feeling of the staves are together. Put a cable around it, and they got what they call a wilderness wheel. I'll never forget. Half spoke wheel. You draw that spoke together and draw all these staves together like that, see? And then we got a bottom of the barrel, which is actually the bottom of the barrel. It's up, you set it up on the wilderness stand after you draw it together. You will hook off, they call it hook off. And we have to go back and while the cable is being drawn together, it's drawing these barrels stays together like that. And each process is at a fast pace. So once you get it set up like that, put it in the wilderness wheel, tighten it up until it forms a barrel. Then you put another hook on the bottom of it while it's in the wilderness wheel, and that's hold the barrel together. And you tighten it up until it's circling, form the barrel. Anyway, it's a process. You have to see it in spirit and have the spirit of what's going on and feel that as you do it. And it was a unique operation,
It was, wasn't it?
And you get so used to it, you know every step. And we used to do it in sort of cadence like.
That's something.
It was an outstanding way of hand making a barrel.
Yes.
That's some of the
It's
way.
quite a process, wasn't it?
Yeah. So every barrel you turn loose, everybody, one maker would greet the other, and they go through a little rap by hand. See? And it was outstanding because people used to come miles around just to see the barrel makers making barrels.
Was this like the 1950s or 60s? When was
Yeah,
this?
in the 50s.
50s?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was very interesting and wonderful trade it was, but like trades, like a basket maker, his trade is it's an art, real good art.
Yes.
And I just wonder why it didn't keep on.
Yeah.
Well, it did keep on, but then it was machine made. See,
Right.
and when there became a machine made like that,
Yes.
it knocked all of us out,
Yes.
But nothing like good old fashioned barrel to be made.
Definitely.
And you do it all for feel yourself and the motion. And you process every barrel you made, you had a little zingo, like wrapped and rap like somebody tap dancing.
It wasn't artful. It wasn't,
Yeah.
It truly wasn't artful.
Yeah, you unhook your cable and take it off to the wilderness stand and set it down upside down this time again. And once you do that, you hook off. We call it hook off. You
Yes.
put a hook off and make the solid barrel. So after it's completed, you roll it out of the stand in the wide open space there. And that's some of the I can still show you some of the whole motion,
Still remember.
but I don't have none of the wheels, nothing like that no more.
Let me ask you a question about something.
But it was quite interesting.
It was interesting.
People would be all over the shore, come all the way down from New York, Columbus, and everywhere else while we did it. It's I forget what kind of motion you call that. It's not kinetic motion. I don't think so. I don't know. It's a motion you feel in your bone when you do it, and it's successful. And yeah,
So you and Frank Nock. So
yeah,
you were.
me, Frank, all the brothers. They used to know us by barrel coopers.
Yeah, Coopers, right? They were all
Yeah,
Coopers.
barrel coopers.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you a question about something.
Huh?
Your grandmother, Tab.
Yeah, Aunt
Do you
Ted.
remember her?
We used to call her Aunt Ted. Huh?
You remember Aunt
Yes,
Tab?
yes, yes. Cook?
She could cook.
Man, I'm telling you, cook.
Let me ask you this. Her
In
husband,
the evening, yeah.
your grandfather, George Nock.
George Nock.
Her husband, do you remember George Nock?
Not too well.
Don't remember him?
I remembered him, but it's distant, like, because, well, he was the oldest
older.
Nock, George.
Yes.
So you can imagine how that is.
That was a long time ago.
Oh,
I know
man.
that. Do you remember? Did you ever hear of his mother? Her name was Rachel. Did you ever hear her name before? Rachel Nock.
Rachel?
Mm-hmm.
I've heard of Rachel, yes.
That was his mother. That was George's mother's name.
It was?
Mm-hmm.
How old did she live?
Well, she was born in 1840.
I just won't even comment on that.
Yeah, that's a long time ago.
Yeah. In those days.
She died in 1920s. So you do recall hearing her name before? You do recall hearing her name before when you were a child?
Amelia, I think. Amelia.
Okay.
Amelia.
It's a long time ago. You know that
Yeah.
for sure.
He was born in 1920, in the 1920s.
Yeah, 1922, I think. Okay.
All of them had names short like that.
Yes, they did.
Babe, Branch. There was a Branch.
Brantley Nock. You ever heard that name before, Brantley?
No, I can't recall.
Okay.
But it was a Branch. Babe. Pitt.
Yes.
You remember Pitt?
Mm-hmm. So how was life growing up in Accomack? You grew up in Accomack, Virginia.
Accomack, yeah.
How was life there way back then? How was it?
Who?
Was it fun? Was it not fun growing up there? Or how was it growing up there?
It was calm as could be in those days, It's a slave area. And I just I don't remember it too well. A lot of singing, quartets. Yeah, and they could go. They could go.
Back then you had separate schools for blacks and whites, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Every now and then I can remember some of those little
pieces of it.
Yeah. It's kind of rough.
Yes. You came to Baltimore. Do you recall when you came to Baltimore? When did you come north?
I came to Baltimore in 1935. 1935. We came to Baltimore on the back of a truck. We had a dog named Bronco.
Bronco.
And he was so glad. The dog was actually like a human. He was. He'd know you're going somewhere, and he'd look at us like he's trying to talk to us. He actually did. I told somebody that and look at me like I'm crazy, but it would. And the dog had more sense than we had. A classic move of the dog was one Thanksgiving when we first got to Baltimore. things were tight, you know. Jobs were okay if you could do housework and stuff like that. But nothing for a man to be doing, you know. However, at those times, you're glad to have a job, any kind of job.
Any job.
I sold papers, newspaper, Baltimore Sun, Baltimore, Maryland News.
Why did you come to Baltimore? Just for a better life?
Yeah. Well, then everything that was made by hand, and people had a culture. Where they got their cultures were from the family that's raised by one family would be famous for making a sweet potato pie or beans, all kinds of beans. They could do all that kind of food. And there was a time they called hog killing time. Time in a year that it's just, it was still cold, you know, but we didn't have refrigerators, you know about that. It goes back that far, my grandma and all. Used to get water from the ice house downtown. And we had the 25-cent piece of ice and 50-cent pieces of ice, and put in a wooden refrigerator, we call it. It was not a refrigerator, but an ice box. So, like butter, you made your own butter a lot of times. They had a long rod run down in the middle of it, and they would churn butter by pumping up and down. They'd be mixing the butter and fats together, and forming butter. I mean pure butter. And same way a lot of their cooks were done in wooden construction. So wooden construction books that they did it by the bus. They would come over and go to each other's house and we're gonna make a sweet potato pie. We're gonna make this, that kind of thing. Yes. Until it covered the whole scape. Some of the potato pies they got today, you buy it at the supermarkets and all like that. It's the old technique refined with magic, so to speak, where it's mixing bowls. And mixing bowls. Well, these are some of the things that went on in construction of that pie. And the technique is really old-fashioned. You churn it by the field and you're mixing. That would go on some days all day long. There's another jar of water there.
No, you need some more to pop out?
In back.
Yep.
That's some ice water. Anybody want some?
No, we're good.
Nobody been drinking it but me.
That's okay. Do you want it?
Okay. Huh?
Do you want some? You want to take a sip?
Thank you.
Weldon, there's a couple of
Thank you.
women I'm gonna name for you. Tell me if you remember them.
Huh?
Do you remember Mary Jane Nock?
Yes.
Remember her?
Yes.
She was my grandmother.
She was your mother.
My grandmother.
How about that? Oh,
You were close
yeah,
to her.
I see it. Yeah.
She was in Baltimore, and of course she was Sam's wife.
Where were they living on Division Street?
No, it was in Emerson Village.
Huh?
Edmondson Village, on Loudon Avenue. Does that ring a bell? Loudon Avenue, over in Emerson Village.
Loudon, yeah, that's way uptown.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was. Loudon, L-O-U.
Mm-hmm. D-O-N.
D-O-N, yeah.
Yes.
And it's very late parties of, I shouldn't say late like that. Makes me seem like it's 8 years old. Anyway,
Do you remember Aunt Georgia Nock?
and Georgia, yeah, that's my sister.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Georgia. We used to call her Yaffe.
Yaffe?
Yeah.
Why'd you call her Yiffy, Papa?
Huh?
Why'd you call her that?
Well, it was a boy. We used to tease her all the time. She wanted to fight, and she would fight. She wouldn't take that off of nobody. Call her Yaffe.
Is that right?
Georgie. Her name is Georgie now. And she, anything she loved, she hang to it like, I don't know what, like a doll baby. Growing up, she'd fight like mad. You got her doll baby. Yeah.
Is that
Georgie,
right?
yeah, she's quite a girl. I love Georgie. Oh, yeah. And in Camden, New Jersey, we lived in Camden, New Jersey a while. We had an old house that we lived in there, and they had the neighbors had moved out, and we rented the house. That's what it was. And I remember Georgie, we got her baby Christmas, a Christmas baby. And the other girls, Colleen and all of them, would hide it from her. And they would start a fight. Man, I'll tell you, Georgia would fight. You mess with Georgia, you're in trouble.
I was
So-
going to ask you about your.
Yeah.
Okay, so you talk about Georgie. So Aunt Carlene, you remember this picture, or you know who's in this picture?
Who?
Why don't you? Can you look and tell?
Oh, yeah. Let's see.
Aunt Carlene. Yeah, Aunt Louise, right?
Yeah.
We don't know who the gentlemen are though.
Louise. How you get these tapes?
Told you he's been busy.
That's my.
We've been busy.
Who?
You remember your sister Carlene, Louise?
Colleen Louise, yeah. Just Colleen leaning against me, I think.
You don't know who the guys are though.
Huh?
You don't know who the men are in the picture. You don't know who the men are in the picture.
Yeah. That's me there. Right here. Yeah.
So talk a little bit about Aunt Carlene. I remember her.
Yeah.
What was she like, Pop Pop?
What was she like?
This is Louise.
Mm-hmm. Louise. Yep. Were they close? Were they like among the sisters? Were they pretty tight, Carlene and Louise?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They used to go out and dance and everything. I did too. Sing together and everything. Oh, that is quite a I'm trying to figure out who is just laying their head against me.
Mm.
Yes, Colleen's head against mine. Uh-huh. And it's way up on the stand, higher up.
Where'd you guys party?
Huh?
Where'd you go to party? You just party in basements? People's houses? Where'd you go to party and dance?
It would be over Colleen's house.
Over Carlene's house?
Yeah, her house. When she lived on, let's see, Colleen was living on, can't think of the name of it. Even the white guys knew Colleen. They were good friends of her.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about Carlene. Tell us about Carlene.
She liked to sing. Any dance come out, she's first one there doing it. Colleen could sing, and she clowned while doing it. A tisket, a tasket. You remember that? A tisket, a tasket, a brown and yellow basket. Sent a letter to my mommy. On the way I dropped it, I dropped it, I dropped it. On the way I dropped it, some little girl picked it up and took it in her pocket. Yeah, I remember that. And then Chick Webb, there was a band involved called Chick Webb.
Mm-hmm.
He was a drummer, and he was really good. And they were in the band, and they sang as she sang.
How about, tell us about Louise. Tell us about Louise.
Louise?
Yes.
Now Louise, she always wanted to lead the girls, in everything they did. So she, her and Louis had doll babies together. And they used to make little dresses for them and other little capers that the girls make. They'd get a little scrap because you got my dress and all that kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
I remember that. There's just little arguments between the girls.
That sounds familiar.
Their dresses and their skirts and stuff like that.
So growing up, what were they like as young women? As young women, what were they like? Like as mothers, and how they felt about their kids?
Well, they fight for each other, that's for sure. They won't allow anybody to overrun them, that's for sure. But that was the way of the times then. Struggle was hard. Anything you had a dress to buy, you'd have to go together because they wanted to get together.
Mm-hmm.
That's so far back, honey. I just can't remember something.
You're doing a good
You're
job.
doing good, Pop Pop. So do you remember this picture? This is you and Uncle Pete and Aunt Louise. I know y'all were. Is that your car in the background or Uncle Pete's? I know it might be hard to see.
Yeah. I forget what kind it was.
Y'all were tight.
Huh?
Y'all were very close.
The red one you talking about?
I don't know which one it is.
Kind of a red.
Mm-hmm. Let me see. I don't know, car. No, the one is this. This one here. Who gave me that one? Jerome.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
The Cadillac?
Yeah, it was probably a Cadillac because that's all you
Cadillac.
had.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, a Cadillac because that's all you had back in the day, right? Cadillac.
I had two Buicks. So it looked like something like Roadmaster.
Uncle Weldon, how did you? We have a lot of family in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
You came to Baltimore. You didn't go to Philadelphia to live. Why did you choose Baltimore?
Well, coming up from the Eastern Shore, you're so glad to get away from home. The first to me was I wanted to get into school, you know, and I figured the best way